we'll call this town board meeting to order, and I'd ask you to join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Who would take the roll call, please?
They got him over there instead of behind me. I like that.
Those that are present,
Right over there.
those that are present, Mr. Craig Randall, our supervisor.
Present.
Mr. Craig Bruno, councilman.
Here.
Mr. James Douglas, councilman.
Here.
Mr. Eric Duquette, councilman.
Here.
Mr. Mel Irwin, councilman.
Here.
Myself, Judy Akey, as deputy town clerk. And for Diane Miller, town clerk excused. Also present are Pamela Barber, confidential secretary to the board, and also deputy town clerk. Mr. Matthew Favreau, town attorney. Mr. Chaka Siclianos. Dr. Johnson. Mr. Michael Farrell, highway superintendent. Mr. Tyler Jarvis, deputy highway superintendent. I don't see Courtney.
Courtney has texted us and asked he is excused for the meeting.
Okay, so Courtney is excused. And Mrs. Kristen Marino, Recreation Director. Mr. Bob Winup, Zoning and Codes Officer. Mrs. Helen Nurska is excused, and who was our historian, and Scott Thurber, our town justice.
Just let the body know I'm here tonight as a taxpayer and as a resident of the town of Peru, not as town justice.
Okay.
It's just a title you can't get out of, my man.
Okay, with that said, we'll move on to item 4. I'd ask for a motion approving the minutes for the regular meeting of March 10th, 2025.
Make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
And Eric. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And a similar motion, please, for the special meeting of March 18th, 2025. We could have a motion.
I'll make it.
Eric?
Second. Look.
Okay.
Jim.
Who's first?
No, Craig.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you for that. Moving on, next item is item 5 on the agenda is community input. And we have tonight a request from
Tricia Thurber and Scott Thurber.
who want to discuss an issue regarding zoning and code enforcement.
You guys can talk at the same time?
No,
Never.
Scott and Tricia, you have the floor.
I'll begin. I just have a few questions. I can read all of them at the same time, and then we can go from there, or we can do one by one. Doesn't matter to me. I'll probably read all 3, so you kind of get the gist of what I'm trying to talk about. The first question I have is, what is the process, or what causes a house to be condemned? That would be my first question. The next question is, what is the process of allowing occupancy after a property is condemned by the zoning board or the code enforcement officer? My next is, what is the process for examining a house that has been condemned to be sure that all the necessary improvements were made that caused the house to be condemned in the first place? And my last question is, what is the process in place to remove occupants from a condemned residence when a certificate of occupancy hasn't been granted?
Matt, you want to,
Those are all Bob questions.
They're definitely
Bob,
Bob
are
questions.
you comfortable addressing
Sure, yeah.
this evening, or?
Yeah, I understand which property this concerns. So the property that they're speaking of was sold at a tax auction to Mr. Gabe Gerard. Gabe Gerard, in turn, sold the property to Mr. Chad Snow. Mr. Snow was posting pictures online. I'm going to tell it as I recall. Posting pictures online, and he accused me of trespassing on his property, which I was not. He was putting him on Facebook of doing some work there. So I told Mr. Snow at the time, when I spoke to him, that he needed to he needed to get a building permit, number one. Then I told him that there was some issues with asbestos with the property. And I gave him a contact number for Mr. Jason Pensevine at the New York State Department of Labor. That law, at that time, the laws have changed. If you own the property and are not going to flip it or intend to sell it, you can remove and play with the asbestos whatever you want, and bag it and take it to the landfill. And I have the paperwork in my office. It's when you demo a place that you have to have an asbestos abatement done, and it has to be done by a qualified person. I've had many contacts with Mr. Snow, as well as other folks, other employees of the town. I know where this is coming from because I've talked to Mr. Thurber about it. There's a trespass issue that he's had. I'm not the trespass cop. And he's been there for 5 years, and there was never a problem until they were trespassing on the property. Again, I'm not the trespass cop. He showed me the videos of Chad and his civic partner trespassing on the property. Again, I'm not the trespass cop. That's where this problem lies, and that's where we're at.
Can I
So,
respond?
go ahead, I'm sorry.
My first question is,
Yep.
was the building ever condemned?
No. So, he asked for a letter. He was in a need for temporary housing from the Department of Social Services. He was looking for some housing or whatever. He asked me to say that the place was not habitable, and I'd have to go back and look at my emails. I don't even know. And again, he's been there for 5 years or longer. You know, so, but again, if you question Mr. Thurber, this is all about a trespass issue. He says he's had her arrested and supposed to hear in another court. I don't know. I've seen the videos. He showed me the videos. So, I don't know what to say. And how many folks in this room can tell me they have a C of O in their house? Who can tell me and produce a certificate of occupancy? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. You can produce a document? Okay. All right. I mean, we're talking about a house that was built in, is it 100 years old? I'm not sure.
So he has the right to live there.
He does. Here's what I object to, and I'll tell you, and it makes me sick. NYSEG, it used to be 6 or 9 months. If the service was disconnected, they would have to get an electrical inspection. They've all gone all the way to 2 years. So if the power, they don't have to get it inspected. That's stupid if you ask me, but that's not my game. That's not my game. That's NYSEG's. You know.
Bob, can you, there were some specific process questions that
Yep.
Tricia raised. Can you address those answers this evening? The process for
Condemning a place?
condemning and then determining when corrections are made. I suspect that's pretty straightforward.
So yeah, if the place is, if it's not habitable for living, meaning they don't have proper heat that can maintain the temperature of 64 or 68 degrees from September 15th to May 15th. If they don't have hot water, if they don't have a working bathroom, there's a number of issues that.
Whose job is it to determine that?
Me.
Okay.
Yep. But how do how am I gonna get into the house if it?
Sheriff, state.
Huh? Okay.
Well, would that not come normally with an application for a permit?
Yeah, yep.
Is everything about a property that's not habitable subject to building permit application?
I'm sorry, what's that, Rick?
I'm saying, is everything that might not make the property habitable subject to?
No, because you could have a septic system that's failing. Of course, that would be, the health department would play a part in that too, so.
Understood.
Not only get generated if he went for the application to upgrade it,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or the raw sewage is running out and is pointed out.
Mhm.
So in this instance, there was never an application
No.
submitted?
No. No.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead, Trish. Yeah.
So there was a letter submitted to social services saying
Yeah.
that the house wasn't habitable?
I'm sure I have an email of it, if I sent it to them.
So I guess
can tell you.
I
Go
don't
ahead, I'm sorry.
understand the difference between sending that to social services saying that
He-
they're not
so
allowed to live there.
He was
it's not-
looking, okay, I'm sorry. So he was looking for temporary housing.
Okay,
he
but
was-
if a letter was issued that he
Mhm.
shouldn't be living there and he's living there, I don't know where, that's where my concern is.
I'd have to go back, I'd be glad to go look at my office now. I'm sure I probably have a copy of the letter.
So what would allow the house for him to live in that house?
What's that?
After you issue a letter like that to social services, what allows him to live in that house? And this, for me, is not a trespassing issue. My concern at this point, my questions had nothing to do with trespassing. My questions had to do with process. I just want to make that clear, that I'm trying to understand why it is that people are living in a home that social services, you're saying, was told that isn't habitable, and due to them living in that home has caused safety concerns for myself.
I can't, okay, I understand. And I can't specifically recall if I actually generated that letter to social services. I'd be glad to look. I could, that I'll tell you. I wish I could remember. I mean, it's been 5 years or more, I'm sure.
They haven't been there for 5 years.
What's that?
They haven't been there for 5 years. They haven't been there for 5 years.
I'll take care
Oh,
of it.
well,
Yeah.
okay.
So-
How long have they been there?
2023.
What's that?
2023. You sent a letter to social services in
Okay,
2023.
so, okay.
So you're-
2023?
Yep, because we were at the
He was
tax
there prior
auction.
to, what's that?
He wasn't there prior to it. He moved the camper onto the property and was living in the camper when you and the former town supervisor paid him a visit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want me to have my 3 minutes, I'll do my 3 minutes.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, so first of all, it's not 5 years. It's from 2023. You can look it up clearly on the county records as far as deeds. Second of all, yes, and I agree with Mr. Gwinnett, I had issues with trespassing. That's not the reason why I'm here. If I want to put a 20 by 20 deck on my property, I need a permit from that man.
If you
from
want to
that
remodel your kitchen, you gotta get a permit,
Yeah.
if you're doing electrical and plumbing work.
Yeah,
Am
so.
I correct?
So, this is not going to debate back and forth, Mr. Gwinnett.
Yep.
So my problem is, the house was condemned in a letter that's foilable with the county
Okay.
that he sent. So that means nobody can live in the house. And under the process, from what I've seen with the statutes, you have to put a placard on that house if you condemn it. Is that correct? But that letter condemned that house. And was there any posting that you did on the house?
I'd have to go back and look.
Okay,
Scott.
so he moved in the house. You just mentioned all these things that he needs to live in this house.
Mhm.
Can you tell me can you show me an inspection report that you physically did of that house on a date and time indicating that all these items were in meeting code, Mr. Gwinnett?
I went down there after the fact,
When did you go down there?
after the fact.
But you got documentation of that showing that everything was in order.
What's that?
You got documentation showing that everything was in order.
I don't know. I've had many instances of dealing with Mr. Snow. Garbage, hearing from you about trespass, other neighbors complaining, many instances. And to be honest with you, Scott, I can go to the, I don't want to say that, because I don't want to, say something that.
My concern is
And I think-
I'm hearing the same thing from
Yeah.
everybody in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Okay, everybody's concerned, they know me in the community, they know my background, and I've been approached about issues pertaining to that. How can somebody have a pool cover on the top of their roof to keep it from raining, with the rain coming into the house? So that was removed. So now we got another tarp up there. So if the roof is leaking, if I read the section correctly, that house is deemed uninhabitable if it's leaking into the living area, correct? Where there's electrical? Am I wrong on that, Mr. Gwyneth?
Do you in fact know it's leaking?
Do you? Have you been there to check it out?
I've been in there. so-
Recently? No, I'm talking recently. The tarp has been on there for a year, blew off, you just put a new one on. Have you been there in the last 6 months?
I'm sorry. what's
Have you
that?
been to that residence in the last 6 months?
No. No.
That's all I had.
But again, it hasn't been an issue until this trespass has come up. That's my point. I
But-
mean, it hasn't, and have you tried to, and where are you with your trespass issues with them?
Those are, they're two different, they're two
No, we
different.
don't need to answer
Did
that.
you foil that the house was inhabitable that Mr. Winnup filed?
No, I've been in contact with council with Matt Norfolk out of Lake Placid, and that's after tonight, that's maybe a process that we're gonna go down.
Okay, so you don't know 100% for sure if he did it or
No,
not?
Bob told me himself that he had someone. So.
Whether I
so-
sent it to the Department of Social Services,
My biggest thing, and it's not about the trespass, yes,
Yeah, yeah.
everybody, so here's my concern as a community member of the town. All we have to do is take a drive around town. Mr. Gwyneth.
I'm sorry, I missed that one.
I said, all we have to do is drive around town, Mr. Gwyneth.
Yeah.
We see residents that are falling in, and people are living in them. And some of the issues that we've had here in the town prove some of these issues. A small issue like garbage or 3 campers on a property or a boat that's allowed to be there that's all dismantled, those lead to other issues. And some of the folks in my neighborhood, Mr. Gwyneth, are not concerned so much about trespassing, although we've all experienced it. The issue we're having is people worried about their safety because of something not being enforced with this town, as far as zoning, and I don't know all the zoning laws that could have been violated, created a bigger problem for the harmony of the community, who we all pay taxes. I mean, if you want me to bring in the 10 folks from my neighborhood that all have an issue.
Because he's trespassing?
No, because they're concerned for their safety, because they were allowed to go into a house, live in a house that was condemned by your office through an email, that's, I'm sure is foilable, which we'll get a copy of it. And, you know, and then there was no enforcement by your office or somebody else prior to, well, it's been the past 2 years.
Right.
So that would have been you.
Yep.
So there's been no enforcement that we can see, and we're concerned. If I was to go put a deck on my house, you'd be the first one on it. If my neighbor wanted to put a pool in, you'd be on that. My thing is, from my background in law enforcement, we used to call it selective enforcement.
I'm aware
So
of that.
if we're going to do enforcement on any law the town approved, it's not going to be selective, it's going to be one for all. And if you're not comfortable going there without having a sheriff's deputy, then.
I've been there with the police.
Okay, no, you just said that prior to this.
I
Then-
have been there with the police.
And I'm
Not
sure-
within 6 months, sure. I have. Because of past dealings I've had with Mr. Snow, I didn't feel comfortable. First of all, he had an ugly dog. The first time I went there by myself, he had an ugly dog. So then, prior to that, I went back there before with I have.
That's one thing that, you know, we have to, if we're gonna select, it's gonna be for all. It's not gonna be pick and choose who this zoning law or that zoning law applies to.
Yep.
Period. I mean, and as far as, you know,
Your
the
time is
tri-
running up here, Mr. Randall?
It is, I just want to make sure that the issues are out on the table.
Yep.
So, what's the solution here? Can we get in touch with social services, find out if it's condemned? And then go
I'm
down
sure
there?
I'm sure I have an email in there. If
So that was my last question.
Yeah.
What is the process to have residents removed if the house is condemned?
well, it has to begin with me, Trish, for
Okay.
sure. No, I agree.
I'm just asking.
No,
You
I
don't need to be
no,
snippy, I'm
no,
just
No, I'm
asking.
not being, no, you're right,
Okay.
you're absolutely, it begins with my office, right? And again, I'm not comfortable going there alone because of what I've gone through before with him.
So you
I'm
can
gonna call-
imagine what it's like, and I'm not trying to,
Okay,
but
yep.
you keep talking about the trespassing and kind of being like snarky about it. But the thing is that they're not supposed to be there,
Okay,
then there's no reason why I should feel unsafe. And I feel
Okay.
unsafe right now because
okay, but again, here's what I'm gonna tell you. I'm not comfortable going there by myself
Mm-hmm.
because of my past dealings with him, and so, you know, so I would contact the sheriff's department, that's usually my first, I mean, I can't call the state police to go there, but physically getting them out of there, how do you,
I don't, that's what I'm asking.
yeah,
Well,
I have just, I'm sorry, one question is,
sure,
go way back and then, you
Yep.
know, we're just,
yep.
you said that, he was looking for housing.
Temporary house, yep.
So did or did not the county, or
Give
condemn
him-
the house?
You know, Jim, I don't know. I
So
don't know.
could
I
you-
may have generated that letter, because yeah, the place is, it's a crap hole.
So, and if in that case, he should have got housing, I would have thought he would have moved out. But if the
Yeah.
county condemned it, then.
No, the county can't condemn it. I would condemn it.
Okay.
Whether I issued the letter or not, I'm sorry, I can't recall. Whether I
Okay.
sent the letter,
Okay,
to
that would be a
social services.
question that I,
Yeah.
okay.
I can go back and look, I certainly.
So let's find out if he sent the letter, if it is condemned. Number two, get in touch with the state police. I'm sure any one of us more than happy to go with you with the state police or
Yeah.
sheriff
Yeah.
and put a stop to this.
Yeah, that's not a problem, but things I'd like to talk to the board off the record of why,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we've talked about it.
okay.
Okay, it's a matter we'll take up in the
Yep.
appropriate direction.
Yep. No worries.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me ask a question just off the record, but what's the, I'm, as you know, I'm a newcomer from the township. I've been here 4 years and I haven't seen the whole township in many respects. How close are these residences that we're talking about? How close are you to this problem?
We own the land right up behind them, their entire property.
So, but as far as your personal safety is concerned, is it?
We have 63 acres, close to 70 acres that I used to be able to walk on, no problem, and have no fear for my safety. But because
Because of the
Aggressive dogs,
aggressive dogs walking along our property like they own it, I'm not comfortable walking on my property. I haven't been able to do that in probably 2 years. The only time I go out back is hunting, and I don't even go down the trails, so,
Sure, can I ask you, do they still have the black dog?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
I mean, Mr. Gwynn said this up, he's not comfortable going there at all.
No, no.
We shouldn't, we pay a lot of taxes for the property that we own. My wife and other teachers from the school shouldn't feel uncomfortable to walk the 7 miles of trails we have on, especially when Mr. Gwynn himself was intimidated by it. That man wants to bring a sheriff or state police. So it's the same thing. It's not about trespass, it's about a safety issue. And I know there's other issues that Bob is probably going to discuss in executive session. I know what they are. I talked to some other law enforcement officials, and those are null and void as far as issues, as far as any kind of enforcement. Those have maybe been from the years past, but as far as current day, that's not an issue. Because I've heard some of the conversations that have gone through with some of the boards. So.
Okay. Any other questions to be brought up by the council members? If not, I think we understand that there's an issue here, we need to get to the bottom of it. And I thank Trish and Scott for taking the time to come in. You have an absolute expectation that you should be safe on your own property, and I don't think anybody here disagrees with that.
Thank you.
Not at all.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I apologize for the time it takes, but I felt it was important to let the issues be discussed while the people were here in the room.
I agree. I want to bring chocolate with you too.
I'm sorry.
I want to bring chocolate with you too. I'm kind of serious.
Well, no, I think you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
He knows what he's doing with aggressive dogs, so it doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
Maybe they're not licensed.
There's a black one that I picked it up 2
Oh,
weeks
okay.
ago. So
Okay.
very sweet. It's the other one.
which one is
I forget.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, moving on to item 6 on the agenda for tonight. If I could have a motion for the resolution between the town of Peru and Clinton County Youth Bureau on the table. I request that.
Very good. I'll second it.
Jim, Craig.
A resolution approving contract between the town of Peru and Clinton County Youth Bureau for the 2025 contract to help fund the recreation program and authorize the supervisor to execute the same. Whereas the town board has a 2025 Clinton County Youth Bureau contract between the town of Peru and Clinton County before it, whereas Clinton County agrees to pay the town of Peru Youth Commission the amount of $5,000. This contract shall be from October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025 to help fund the town of Peru recreation program. Therefore, be it resolved, said proposed agreement is approved and the supervisor being hereby is authorized to execute said agreement. Be it resolved, this resolution shall take effect immediately.
This is a roll call vote. Is there any questions or comments from the council?
This is the same number you all said?
Yeah.
If not, we'll call the vote.
Mr. Craig Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. James Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Eric Duquette?
Yes.
Mr. Mel Irwin?
Yes.
And Mr. Craig Randall?
Yes.
You almost said yes twice. She hesitated on that last name on me, man. I was
Because
like,
it's
come on, I'm
right
up.
here.
I was waiting to see it.
I'm used to going last. This first stuff has really thrown me for a loop.
I
Okay.
did, I can see.
Moving on to item 7, the new 2025 Western Star plow truck is available for delivery, and with delivery comes at least the payment for the cab and chassis before it goes on for further equipment to be added to it, including the plow box, the plows, and all of the related electronics that make those work. If we could have a motion placing that on the table.
I'll make it.
I'll second that motion. Give it.
Would you like to read that one?
Resolution for general funds to do an interim loan to the highway department for the partial payment for the 2025 Western Star plow truck. Whereas the town of Peru Highway Department is in need of an interim loan for the approved purchase and payment until such time the bond is secured. Whereas the approval of this purchase has resulted in the need to borrow $200,000 from the town general fund. Now be it resolved that the town general fund is authorized to loan the amount of $200,000 to the town highway department until the bond monies become available. Said loan should be paid back to the general fund as soon as the bond monies become available. And be it resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Any questions or thoughts on that? What we're doing here is that we're going to be having to bond shortly for the wastewater treatment plant. This is a relatively small bond of $200,000 of a total purchase price package of about $351,000 for the plow truck when it's fully equipped. So rather than have our bond counsel do the same work twice, we're going to have the two bonds prepared at the same time. There's some savings in doing that, which
Right.
is significant. So just so you understand, that's what we're doing, temporarily borrowing from the general fund.
And we did talk about that during our workshop, which is very informative.
There's no other comments or questions or details?
I got dibs on that truck.
It's a roll call vote.
Mr. Craig Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. James Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Eric Duquette?
Yes.
Mr. Mel Irwin?
Yes.
And Mr. Craig Randall?
Yes, yes.
Driving truck.
Thank you for that.
Item
Item number 8 has just become a standard updated report that we've been providing the board and also in doing so providing the community with the status report of the replacement of the Telegraph Road bridge over Dry Mill Brook. This particular report, I look at it from the point of view of what was stated last month and where we're at. And again, substantially, the project is moving, even though a snail moves slower.
But they are moving.
They are moving, and if you watch from one report to the next, you can see the sense of that move. What's most important is that the ultimate target date of August 2025 to have this out for bid.
That's not moving.
Has not changed.
No.
Hopefully it doesn't, unless it goes forward, backwards. Yeah, there's a few sentences on these that they move just a little bit. They're pretty snaily.
We're getting these reports on a monthly basis.
That
so-
helps a lot, though.
Keep Monica on
Along with the bills that go with all the, right, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah, they don't forget them.
Moving on to item 9, involves a resolution to seek appraisal services for the disposition of the 7 Jenkins Street tennis court property prior to sale. And we need some foundation to provide a listing price for it. I have a motion placing this resolution on the table.
Thank you.
Eric?
Second that motion?
Greg?
A resolution to seek appraisal services for the 7 Jenkins Street property prior to sale. Whereas the town board has deemed it necessary for the town of Peru to seek appraisal services to provide a current valuation at 7 Jenkins Street property prior to listing for sale on the market, now therefore be it resolved, the town of Peru will seek valuation information as necessary to achieve this purpose. Be it resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
And if you could do the roll call vote?
Mr. Craig Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Eric Ducat,
Yes.
Mr. James Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Mel Irwin,
Yes.
and Mr. Craig Randall.
Yes.
Current assessment on that is,
The total assessment, I believe, I'm going from memory now, is 51.7, and I believe the land alone was, I want to say 10.7.
I'm not sure, I thought it was 20.
That's,
Is appraisal done by a realtor or by?
Appraisals are done by people, professional appraisers that banks use to do valuations before mortgages. There's 2 ways to do it. You can pay for an appraisal, full workup appraisal of the property. Or the other thought I had was you could use, I would take 3 realtors, have them each do a market value analysis, and then take the average of the 3. The second one is probably not going to cost you any money. The first one's going to cost you appraisals, I don't know, $350, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Fair
Mr.
market.
Favreau, very good. I'm all about the second one.
If we're going to use the second one, I mean, obviously we're not going to use Brandy for a lot of reasons, not that he's not a great realtor.
It's probably not a good
You
idea.
do have other local realtors that live in Peru that I'm sure would be more than happy to give you a valuation as a service to the community and potentially you get a listing, so.
They're a dime a dozen everywhere.
the listing, I wouldn't want it to preclude one of them from, or compromise their.
You wouldn't, I mean, I think it's fairly common for people to ask a couple realtors to come in and give them different ideas of what the value of a property is. So I don't think anybody would be put off by being asked to do that.
Thank you.
Well, sometimes that's better anyways.
Yeah, an appraisal is bank worth for a mortgage, realtor value, usually they're within 10%, but a realtor's gonna give you, right now, market value, what you can sell them for. They should be pretty close, but
Okay.
But you get, the resolution just allows you to do either, so whatever the board decides it wants to do. Mr. Randall asked me earlier, I'll get him a list of a couple of appraisals. There's not many in the county right now, maybe 3 or 4. I'll get him the list with contact info today, tomorrow, or the next day. So if that's the reason why he'll have it. That's gonna be a 4 to 6 week process, I would think, just because there's a backlog. There's just not enough of them right now.
Unless
And if
you-
we got maybe a couple of realtors, it'd be quicker.
I would think it would be quicker.
They're hungry.
Especially if there's a listing, as a carrot.
Thank you.
We might even have somebody interested right off the bat too.
Right.
Can you build a house on a small lot like that? The houses you build?
Like tiny homes are right now.
I've already had 3 or 4 people ask me if it's gonna
My
happen.
land is probably 40,000. It's a little easier drive.
Buy it for your kids, that'd be a perfect spot.
That's what I'm doing. My husband's that big pool over there. I'm good.
Okay, moving on, we'll move on to item 10 on the
We got a hole in the ground.
agenda. Item 10 involves the appointment of an individual to the Board of Assessment Review Board to finish out an expiring term of another individual. If I could have a motion, please.
I'll make it.
I'll second that.
A resolution to appoint Terry Oppen to the Board of Assessment Review to finish out George Coons' term expiring September 30th, 2026, whereas upon the recommendation of the Clinton County Assessor Jeremiah Cross, this body resolves that Terry Hobbin is hereby appointed to the Board of Assessment Review to finish out George Kuz's term expiring September 30th, 2026. Now therefore be it resolved that the Peru Town Board agrees with the recommendation of Jeremiah Cross and appoints Terry Hobbin to complete the balance of the 5-year term expiring September 30th, 2026. And be it resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Comments from the board?
No, sir.
If not, and it's acceptable, call the roll.
Very much so.
Mr. Craig Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. James Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Eric Ducat?
Yes.
Mr. Mel Irwin?
Yes.
And Mr. Craig Randall?
Yes.
Bob, that's not a conflict. Isn't he on the planning board?
No, I
or
think he
zoning
was
board?
It's on the zoning board of appeals.
Zoning board.
But it's not a conflict.
I don't think so. I think Mr. Falvo was on the,
Yeah.
on the assessment review.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, Terry's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. Item 11, other business. Members of the town council, is there any other items of business that you wish to put before the board tonight?
Okay. Grateful our water and sewer projects moving forward.
Yes, we are. I can't tell you how much pressure that takes off the organization here, just to get it moving. No? Welcome back, by the way.
Change the weather, warm it up a little, that's all I have.
Such a sissy. I guess special thanks to the Youth Commission for donating $750 to the Peru Wrestling Association, helping the Peru wrestlers move forward and become the powerhouse that they used to be in the past. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, they seem like a very deserving.
Like to see it double next year, but we'll go there when we get there.
The money or the
See what
number?
my budget does?
Hey, they were CBAC champions this year, man.
The
Last
money
year,
or the number of wrestlers? Or both?
both. Definitely both.
Well, congratulations, it was a good year.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe you could help coach him.
Should did that.
Okay, if there's nothing else to come up from the council, I'd ask our department heads to weigh in. We'll start with Pam.
No, thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, I ran around Friday with Peter Gibbs and Mark Diagrenzi. They are our town engineers doing Fuller Road, Lyons Road, and Westcott. Spent 4 hours with them Friday. Lyons Road and Fuller Road are pretty basic, kind of same thing we did at Cook Road, just a little bigger. Westcott is tricky, just because we need a temporary bridge. So we're trying to fit it in without getting a temporary easement, taking more land, and it's more permitting process with the DEC and the Army Corps. And I had talked to you guys in one of our Culvert workshops, but I listened to them for a while and I said, there's only 5-6 houses. As far as I'm concerned, a 1-lane bridge would be the way to go, be the cheapest way. I said, I got a meeting tonight. They're gonna price out, and they thought it was a great idea. Like I said, there's only 5-6 houses. There's no land to be expanded up there. It's in the APA anyway. I believe you gotta have 25 acres. Bob could probably tell us. I know it gets up that way to Denton Road.
It might be rural, just might have to be 8.5.
So I got some prices coming, 2 different ways. Actually, I called Mark this morning. We were looking at that bolt together con span, which is just an arch. But the question mark is the lifespan. If it's only 25 years, I researched quite a bit this weekend. That same company makes a prefab bridge, because this is still going to be a bridge. It's going to be 38 feet wide. This, even if it's an arch. So it comes down to the lifespan. So I'm hoping I got some prices coming back. But they do make, like I said, a fat bridge. It's just you have a crane, you dig the holes, the footings, the walls, the bridge structure itself. It'd be all concrete, which will last longer, but I'm sure it's a lot more cost. So, but at the con span metal, if it'll work, it's going. It's the only thing that makes me a little nervous is, as long as it's outside the water, if it's in the water, that's. I
So
don't
they
think
pour
you're gonna get
abutments and then set
Yeah,
the
so,
span?
I'm hoping I have an answer, and then, before the first meeting in April, if I do, then I'll get in touch with Pam and, point you for a resolution, one way or another, but, I think at the workshop, we were all in favor of one way there
100%.
anyway, but, it would save some money, and help, because we got more of these down the road.
Yeah.
What about the temporary bridge from E-Town or Essex County?
They got a hold of me today, I hadn't heard nothing back, so I had emailed them again, I still hadn't, I emailed them this morning, they only got 30 feet, we need a minimum of 40. That's with a one lane if we can squeeze it, if not, then we were looking at, it could be up to 100 depending, so.
No, we're going one lane.
So we're hoping to do it with a 40, but theirs is only 30, so it's not gonna work. So that Conspan company does do something, he's got another company, I forget what the name of it is, that he's reaching out, because I think just because of the slope of the land, everything drops off there, we're gonna have to have it temporary. Because the time you go down, they're 10-foot culverts, so you're probably gonna be down quite a few feet below the bottom of the river, so, time you slope it off, 3-on-1 or whatever they call for it, it's not gonna, so you're gonna have to go wider.
And Mike, that's definitely a classified stream, right?
Oh yeah, that's a salmon river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely got fish in it.
And now the width became wider also.
Yeah, well, like, I went up after this, we got all that snow and it melted, and even Friday, it's probably on the uphill stream, was probably still 100 feet wide, so it was, I was up there a couple days before, and both 10-footers were at least half full, 5 feet of water in each, so there's a lot of water comes down to it. First we go up and out Dairy Mountain and all that,
Everything
the
down.
way it goes through there. When I get done, I did take them to Quaker Highlands, it's not that's that small culvert project, we have, Tyler and I and the boys have lived up there this winter. So I got looking at my budget, I do have an engineer in line, which is nothing to do with these projects, so we're gonna do some surveying. We're thinking roughly maybe a detention pond in the turnaround, which we still own, but it's no longer a turnaround, but that's where we're having all the issues. The problem is, can we slow it down enough where it goes down to the steep part of the hill? Because we live in Tyler, can tell you, I don't know how many times we're up to this one.
Yeah.
We've done
I've been working up there, I've seen the water
everything,
coming
we,
down,
we
there's no way to
dug it
stop.
out, we put clay in, we put paper in, we put shot rock, and then we continue to get sand and stuff, because we haven't used sand in 3
washing.
years, so.
It's coming out of the woods.
Other than that, that's what I got, that's it, I don't have anything else, the guys who are fixing stuff, and Tyler will give you that report.
Fixing
Move on to
stuff.
Tyler.
Yeah, the guys have been busting quite a bit since the snow stopped. 4 of them are focusing on, we had street signs. For some reason, people like to steal them, so we're trying to keep up with them. And people have been running them over. I mean, you can see the tracks that go right to the stop sign. Some of the new ones we just put up before winter, people are just running them over. I don't know if they think it's fun, but
12 miles an hour, they go right flat, they go faster than that, they bounce up.
well, they're on breakaway, so don't take much like So we're taking care of all that. Like I say, 4 guys are starting to strip trucks down slowly because we still see snowflakes in. But some of the stuff we can.
Working on the excavator.
Yep, 3 of us are pretty deep in the excavator. I'm pretty picky, and this is one of our main pieces of equipment. So I told Mike what I'm doing to it. I'm going right through it with a fine-tooth comb. We found some stuff we thought had never been touched on it that should have been touched. The track, we're doing 1 track this year, obviously, because it's pretty expensive to do, but Milton Cat and Clifton Park has a press. All the bushings that go into the cogs, half of them are broke, some of them were cracked, and like 2 of them were still in probably getting ready to crack condition. So we don't have a press that can press those out. They have a heavy press, and one of the adjusters for the track That involves a really big press. I don't even think there's anybody in the area that has one.
It's a 100-ton press.
So we were talking about possibly having somebody do it, but you guys know how I am. I like to get dirty, so we brought it in. I dismantled it, and 3 of us just started going to town, and
Nice.
we took our time. And so the track's getting looked at and fixed. The adjuster also new spring, and then Thursday into today we were looking at some more. We took the book out. Every book tells you a maintenance schedule, and we're going through it, and you can take the belts and you can go like this with them. So obviously it's been a mess. So now we got 2 new belts we got to get, some tensioners. So it's a main piece of equipment. I want to keep it up. So it might be down for a little bit, but we're getting there. And like I say, the guys have been balls to the wall.
Preventive maintenance saves you a lot of money in the long run.
Yep.
Definitely.
And you're doing it in-house, so you're saving there too, which
Yeah,
is
so
appreciated.
a job like that from CAT is probably 15 plus at this point. Minimum.
And keep your fingers out of the pinch points.
Yes, that's part of the
Especially with a
problem.
100-ton press.
Yeah, no, so they've been doing really well, and the guys pulling the trucks apart, that's 3 of us are on that, so they get to do that, and that kind of frees up some time between both of us to get the stuff done. So.
Good job.
I want to just touch, should have jumped on it too, the signs. That line item is a town board expense, which was $2,500. I went around probably 2 months ago. I saw the signs that were missing. Just got them. Those signs were $2,850, so over $350 in a hole. What has happened? I went around and after the heavy snow because of the site visibility. We pushed the banks back so everybody could see to get out the intersection. And some idiot is going around with a vehicle. Now they're not only taking a sign, they're taking posts and all. So now not only have you lost your $47.50 for your sign, you've lost the post. I haven't bought posts in quite a while. Those are probably $40, and then they're snapping the breakaways off in the ground, and then they're stealing the stop signs with it.
They stole a
Not
couple
all
off
over.
in Route 9. There's a bunch of them that were missing. Stop signs are all
They're
missing.
just running over, and they're taking everything. And this happened quite a few years ago on Dasnot Road. They took every sign and signpost. They're smart. They're not going to the local scrap yards here. We checked with them. They're not going there. So whether or not they're taking Potsdam or somewhere else, or they're just
Some other town.
piling them up somewhere, I don't know, but it's frustrating. Some of them, that guys that put up, they don't make 8 hours. I'll check them 3:30 the next morning and they're gone, that quick. And they're beating the bolts, so they can't do that. So now they're running over. Obviously, it's an older vehicle.
Okay.
So, but it's frustrating.
But it's
expensive. Especially when they start doing it with stop signs, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Other departments might have similar issues.
Shazy, when we had the problem, Dasnot, Shazy was another town that hit. I'm not on the traffic and safety, but I will reach out to Greg Burnell, because the state police and the sheriff are involved in that, and see if maybe they could. The odds of catching them are, they're not doing it where it's highly populated. It's out in the middle of John Boswell or, Fuller Road, some places where there's nobody around, so.
Yeah, we tried beating the ends of the bolts so they couldn't take the tools, but now what we're seeing is they must be backing up with a pickup or something, stepping in the pickup, and then they're working them off because part of the sign is still in the bracket. So then we actually saw when the song Old Town Road was big, we replaced that one probably twice a week, and that's how we saw what they were doing. There must have been somebody coming up the road or something when they were trying to break one off. The next thing you know, they skedaddled. So that sign sat there, and you can see where they took their hands to try to get it off, but they got scared because somebody's coming up the road and they skedaddled, so it got left like that. So we saw it, and that's how they're breaking them off. But now they're getting smart and they're just running them over and taking the whole thing.
What happened to Old Town Road?
Both of them were gone. That used to be a very popular
You can
one.
add a stop sign on Davern Road too. I saw that today, flat.
And I'm not saying all of the stop signs are from somebody. I've watched tractor trailers run them over and just keep on trucking.
Yeah, but I noticed I'm missing, in the Salmon River Road was missing one. There's a couple down in Osable, because I'm down that way, we're missing stop signs, so evidently it's,
And I know I've talked to Pat from Osable a couple of times. He doesn't have as big an issue, but they ran into that. I think it was last year when we were dealing with it.
Is the price of scrap up?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's gonna be much for a stop sign.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Of
is.
course, depends on how many they're getting.
Yeah, right, I mean,
Seriously, my girls love it.
Concrete.
Are they made out of titanium or
We
something?
used to do, years ago, the old signs out of the county.
Signs.
No, I noticed all over that they're missing 12 inch that.
oh, yeah.
Oh, you were right.
We're good.
Well, now that we've had the discouraging news,
Yeah.
and some of us in this building know that we usually get things good news, bad news. Kristen, what can you bring us?
So, good news.
Yours is
Hey! So, we finished up basketball season. No real snow days. I think I had to cancel one practice and that was it, which I'm extremely surprised. We had one minor issue on the second to last week with another township and a kid raising his hand in a not nice manner. And so I brought my officials forward, we called timeout, I sent the officials over and said, talk to the coaches. Then we brought both the coaches over and said, look, we have 4 minutes left of the game, can your teams finish this out? And the coaches were like, one said, I benched my kid already, and they're gonna do this, or we're gonna be running during practices and everything else. So they finished the game, everything was fine. We had several parents come up from both sides afterwards saying, you know, fantastic, thank you for doing that, thank you for letting the kids see what needed to be done. So we've gotten some really good positive feedback. In speaking with county, Nick Arnold is no longer the person in charge there. So Tara is running it right now, and I have a meeting on Thursday to go finish up basketball season and then get all the information to start baseball, softball. So we'll meet a new person then. But the feedback I got from county was, we are the largest program, but the best well-run and most organized.
Awesome.
Which they were absolutely delighted. So I said, thank you, you know, we're gonna keep doing it this way. We have officials at every game. I pull tooth and nail to make sure that there's 2 at every game. Helps when you have some in-house, but, you know. At the same time, Rec Desk went live at 8 p.m. last night for baseball, softball, t-ball, all summer activities, employment, and coaching. So a little bit of snafus, someone says I'm a resident, but they're listed as a non-resident in Rec Desk. So just have to confirm and switch some things. Very careful, because if they're not in our township, they need a waiver for the county. I'm not going to play that game, and they all know that, and I've been very nice and say I need to verify this before we do anything and move forward. I have one person that I'm verifying for, only because I do like to use Google once in a while, and it shows me when I type in the address a vacant lot. So I'm sending that in just to verify, you know, is it really, I mean, could it be a house now? Possibly. Google Earth's not always, you know, completely up to date, but so just minor glitches here and there, but we decided to wait on soccer that we usually have people sign up for now, but we found out, like, we had over 100 late signups last year, so we wound up opening it back up again in June. So rather than have to deal with signups now and then signups again in June, we're just gonna open it up in June. So signups for fall soccer at all levels will begin in June, and we'll stay open until just prior to the beginning of the season. So we do have our summer program 4 weeks. I do have basketball, arts and crafts. I am currently looking for a tennis instructor / pickleball. So if somebody would like to do that, that would be wonderful. Our current, or one that we had in the past, nice young gentleman, in order to fulfill college credits. He needs to do an internship and it has to be during the time frame of July. So unfortunately, we've kind of lost that person, so I put some feelers out. We did unfortunately lose our week soccer coach, but I reached out to his son, Ian Spears, who has, we had been talking about this past summer. He has agreed to continue on for his father. So we will have Ian conducting our week of soccer. So,
Very good soccer player.
how's that? Is that uplifting?
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for doing that with our youth.
Thank you, Kristen.
Didn't you play tennis?
Oh.
Oh, he did. I know.
Bob, anything additional you want to offer?
I just got one question. Which one of the board members would like to pay a visit with me on the bus? Mr. Irwin. We'll talk. Set up a time. No problem. We'll get.
Got a 12 gauge.
Shaka?
Nothing but what we talked about. We're going to set up a meeting with.
Yes. Did receive a phone call this afternoon from the dog control officer in the next door town of Plattsburgh, indicating that he was setting up a dangerous dog kenneling service that will replace what is going away with the Eagle Feather agreement. So I talked to Chuck a little bit earlier. We'll get together with him and work out the details and determine what we need to do to make it appropriate for the town of Peru.
Excellent.
But it was a good call to receive.
Cool.
Yeah, I think he said almost every time it just can't be too early.
By the way, he spoke very, very well of Chuck.
He doesn't know?
That'll change.
But yeah, nothing else.
Have I missed anybody? If not, we'll move to item 13, which is public comments on agenda items only. Does anyone in the audience wish to comment? If not, we'll move on to 14. There's a resolution to pay some bills. I need a motion to put it on the table.
Make the motion.
Craig, Sarah?
The resolution authorizing the post office payment of certain claims, bills, and invoices of the town, whereas the town board has reviewed and audited the following claims, bills, and invoices for services rendered and goods provided to the town in March of 2025 from the town of Peru. Vouchers for March 2025, number 202500349, including number 202500434. Abstract dated March 20, 2025, for the dollar amount totaling $346,791.02. Of that, $21,118.03 was by credit cards and prepaid, and $25,672.99 is remaining to be paid for March 2025. Whereas the town board finds said claims, bills, and invoices to be acceptable to form a reasonable amount, now therefore be resolved that payment of the aforementioned claims, bills, and invoices is approved, and the supervisor being hereby is authorized to make such payment, and being further resolved, this resolution will take effect immediately.
Any comments from the board?
No.
If not, I'd ask call the roll.
Mr. Craig Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. James Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Eric Duca?
Yes.
Mr. Mel Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Craig Bruno?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Items 15 and 16, I have no executive session items sufficient to call in an executive session this evening. I would ask if any other board member has likewise anything.
I'm good.
If not,
I'm sorry.
we'll move on to item 17. I'd ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're adjourned.